Have you ever noticed how the rich and powerful seem to be able to get away with anything? From tax evasion to insider trading, it seems like the rules do not apply to them in the same way they do to ordinary people. Well, there is a reason for this, and it has everything to do with the secret network that connects the world's elite. This secret network gives those who are connected to it the ability to influence governments, economies, and even elections from behind the scenes. And the most shocking part is that anyone can join it. In today's video, we'll be exploring the inner workings of this secret network and how you can use it to your advantage. So stay tuned. We all know that crime groups exist, but did you know that they have an incredible amount of power over our world? They can control government officials, rig elections, and even start wars. One of the most powerful crime groups in the world is the Russian Mafia. This criminal organization has been around since the early days of the Soviet Union, and it is still going strong today. The Russian Mafia is involved in everything from drug trafficking to human trafficking to arms dealing. They have a strong presence in Eastern Europe, and they are constantly expanding their territory. The Chinese triads are another dangerous crime group that you should know about. These criminals are based in China, and they have a major presence in the country's booming tech industry. The Chinese triads are involved in a lot of white-collar crimes, such as hacking, fraud, and identity theft. They are also known for their extreme brutality, and they will stop at nothing to protect their interests. The Japanese Yakuza is another crime group that you should know about. This organization is even older than the Russian Mafia, and it is deeply rooted in Japanese society. The Japanese Yakuza is involved in all sorts of criminal activities, including gambling, extortion, and murder. They have a strict code of conduct, and they are known for their loyalty to one another. If you want to be successful in business, it is important to know about these crime groups and how to stay out of their crosshairs. They are not organizations that you want to mess with, and it is best to avoid them at all costs. Now that you know some of the most powerful crime groups in the world, it is time to learn about the secret network that connects them all. This network is known as the Shadow Network, and it is hidden from the public eye. The Shadow Network is made up of a small group of individuals who are at the top of the food chain. When it comes to crime, they are the ones who make the big decisions, and they are the ones who pull the strings from behind the scenes. The members of the Shadow Network are extremely secretive, and they go to great lengths to keep their identities hidden. They understand the power that they have, and they know that they could be targeted by rival crime groups or law enforcement if their true identities were known. As a result, many of the members of the Shadow Network use aliases and false identities to operate. One of the main reasons why the Shadow Network is so secretive is because they are involved in some very illegal activities. They are the ones who are profiting from the drug trade, human trafficking, and arms dealing. They are also involved in a lot of white-collar crimes such as tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud. Because of the nature of their activities, they need to keep their identities hidden in order to avoid detection. Another reason why the Shadow Network is so secretive is because they have a lot of enemies. There are many people who would want them dead, including rival crime groups, law enforcement, and even governments. The members of the Shadow Network understand this, and they take great precautions to protect themselves. They have bodyguards, they travel with fake IDs, and they always have a plan B in place in case something goes wrong. Despite all of the secrecy, there are a few things that you can do to find out more about the Shadow Network. If you want to learn more about this shadowy group, you will need to do some serious digging. The good news is that there are a few clues that you can look out for that can lead you in the right direction. First, pay attention to who is in the news for all the wrong reasons. People who are involved in the Shadow Network tend to stay out of the spotlight, so if someone is getting a lot of negative press, it could be a sign that they are a member of the Shadow Network. Second, look for people who are associated with illegal activities. This may seem obvious, but it is important to remember that not all crime is violent. There are many white-collar criminals out there who are just as bad as violent criminals. People who are involved in drug trafficking, human trafficking, and arms dealing are likely to be members of the Shadow Network. Finally, pay attention to people who are connected to other criminals. If you want to find out more about the Shadow Network, it is important to understand that it is a small world. People who are involved in this shadowy group tend to stick together. So if you can find one member of the Shadow Network, it could lead you to many others. It is important to note that being connected to the Shadow Network is not always a bad thing. Many of the people who are involved in this group are successful businessmen and women who simply operate outside of the law. However, there are also many criminals and villains who are part of the shadow network. It really depends on who you ask. Now let's talk about the perks of being part of the shadow network. As you might imagine, being part of this exclusive group comes with a lot of benefits. For starters, members of the shadow network have access to a lot of power. As we mentioned earlier, this shadowy group is made up of some of the most influential people in the world. As a result, its members can get things done that would be impossible for ordinary people. They can change laws, rig elections, and even start wars. That is why it is so important to understand who is part of the shadow network and how it operates. Being part of the shadow network also comes with a lot of wealth. As you might expect, the people at the top of the food chain when it comes to crime are also at the top of the food chain when it comes to money. They are the ones who are profiting from the drug trade, human trafficking, and arms dealing. And they are also involved in a lot of white-collar crime. As a result, members of the shadow network tend to be very wealthy individuals. Finally, being part of the shadow network also comes with a lot of luxury. The people who are part of this group are used to living large. They drive nice cars, they live in mansions, and they travel in style. They are the ones who can afford the finer things in life, and they are not afraid to flaunt them. If you want to be successful in business, it is important to understand the perks of being part of the shadow network. As we mentioned earlier, this shadowy group is made up of some of the most successful businessmen and women in the world. As a result, being part of the shadow network can provide you with a lot of opportunities. You'll have access to a lot of power, wealth, and luxury. You'll also have access to a lot of information that can help you make smart business decisions. However, it is also important to understand the risks of being part of the shadow network. As we mentioned earlier, this group is also made up of some of the most dangerous people in the world. As a result, if you are not careful, you could end up in a lot of trouble. If you decide to join the shadow network, you must understand that you are entering into a dangerous world. You'll be dealing with some of the most ruthless people in the world, and you need to be prepared for anything. If you are not careful, you could end up dead. As we wrap up this video, we want to leave you with one final thought. The shadow network is a reminder that there is a lot of evil in this world. There are people who are willing to do anything to get what they want, and they will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. That is why it is so important to be aware of the shadow network and how it operates. You need to be aware of the dangers that come with being part of this group, and you need to be prepared to protect yourself at all times. Thank you for watching this video. We hope that it has given you some insight into the shadow network and how it operates. If you want to learn more about this topic, we recommend that you do some further research. There are a lot of books, articles, and documentaries out there that can give you a better understanding of the shadow network. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.